In Western Europe, at the mouth of some of the continent's largest rivers, lies a country shaped not by mountains or borders, but by the constant battle against water. More than a third of the Netherlands sits below sea level. For centuries, storms ripped apart its coastlines, floods erased entire towns, and one mistake meant disaster. Yet instead of abandoning this land, the Dutch used engineering, cooperation, and ingenuity to transform their vulnerability into power. And in doing so, they built one of the world's richest, most innovative economies. This is the remarkable story of how the Netherlands mastered water and turned it into wealth. The Netherlands is a delta, a flat, wet region formed by the Rhine, Meuse, and Scheldt rivers. Its earliest settlers lived on small sand ridges and artificial hills because everything else was swamp, marsh, or open water. For most of history, the sea ruled the land. Storm surges during the Middle Ages killed tens of thousands. Entire regions like the Zuiderzee were created by catastrophic floods that swallowed villages whole. But instead of fleeing, the Dutch began organizing. Communities built the first dikes, earthen walls that held back the sea. They dug winding drainage canals. They invented polders, land reclaimed from lakes and marshes by pumping water out faster than it returned. These weren't small projects. Some polders took generations to complete. But in fighting the water together, the Dutch developed something unusual: a culture where cooperation was a necessity, not a choice. Water forced communities to form water boards, local institutions responsible for maintaining dikes and pumps. These boards are still among the world's oldest democratic bodies, older than many parliaments. Water didn't just shape geography, it shaped how the Dutch think, plan, and govern. Over the centuries, Dutch engineering evolved dramatically. Windmills pumped water from lowlands into canals. Dikes grew taller and more sophisticated. Dredging turned shallow waters into farmland. Entire lakes, like the Haarlemmermeer, were drained using massive steam engines in the 19th century. By the early 20th century, projects like the Zuiderzee Works revolutionized the landscape. A massive dam closed off a dangerous inland sea and transformed it into freshwater lakes and new land. Cities like Amsterdam, Utrecht, and Leiden stand today because the Dutch rebuilt their environment piece by piece. This mastery of water didn't just protect the Netherlands. It prepared the country for something bigger: the rise of global trade. The Netherlands' geography became its greatest asset. Sitting at the mouth of Europe's major rivers, the nation became the ideal entry point for goods from around the world. When European trade exploded during the 1600s, the Netherlands became a global maritime power. Centuries later, during industrialization, Rotterdam emerged as the perfect deepwater port for modern shipping. By the mid-20th century, Rotterdam was handling oil from the Middle East, cars from Asia, steel from Europe, and manufactured goods from everywhere. Containerization, the system of global shipping containers, transformed Rotterdam even further. It became one of the busiest ports on Earth, connecting ships to rail lines, highways, and river barges that reached deep into Germany, Switzerland, and beyond. Pipelines, logistics hubs, chemical plants, and storage terminals turned the Dutch Delta into Europe's economic backbone. A country once threatened by water became rich because of it. Despite its small size, the Netherlands became the second largest food exporter on the planet. The secret isn't land. The country doesn't have much. The secret is technology. The same problem-solving mindset used to fight water was applied to agriculture. Gigantic greenhouse complexes produce vegetables year-round with minimal water and nearly zero waste. Farms use drones, robotics, and automated irrigation to maximize efficiency. Dutch scientists developed high-yield seeds and crops that grow in controlled environments with few pesticides. Vertical farms, bioreactors, and precision livestock management created some of the most productive agricultural systems in the world. The result? A small country feeds millions across the globe. In 1953, disaster struck when a powerful storm surge overwhelmed Dikes in southwestern Netherlands. More than 1,800 people died. Thousands of homes were destroyed. And once again, the Dutch faced the sea at its worst. This led to the Delta Works, a vast, decades-long engineering effort that produced some of the most advanced flood protection systems ever built. Storm surge barriers that can close during extreme weather, reinforced dikes that stretch for hundreds of kilometers, computerized gates that react to real-time water levels. These structures didn't just protect the Netherlands, they turned Dutch engineering into a global export. Today, from New York to Jakarta, countries hire Dutch experts to design their flood defenses. The nation that once feared water now teaches others how to survive it. The Netherlands has few natural resources, no major oil fields, limited land, a dense population. But it has something more valuable: knowledge. Innovation became the country's true industry. Eindhoven grew into a global tech hub, driven by companies like Philips and ASML. The latter, the world's most important manufacturer of semiconductor lithography machines. Dutch research excels in robotics, photonics, sustainable energy, maritime design, and logistics. From smart cities to offshore wind farms, the Netherlands built a reputation as a country that solves problems before they become crises. The Dutch success story didn't come from luck, natural resources, or geography. It came from cooperation, planning, engineering excellence, and resilience. A society built on consensus, where water boards and local councils learned centuries ago that survival requires working together. The Netherlands turned its greatest enemy, water, into the foundation of its economy. From a flood-prone delta to a global powerhouse in trade, agriculture, and innovation. The story of the Netherlands is proof that challenges can become opportunities when a nation commits to long-term thinking. Water shaped the land shaped the people, and the people shaped a nation that mastered survival through ingenuity. The Netherlands didn't just defeat water, it built its future on top of it.